Show us your thermostat, commie.
Exactly.
And that's what we all want to see. Show us the proof, buddy.
Does anybody remember Obama and the tan suit? I feel like it's Groundhog Day the way conservatives are making a scandal out of literally nothing. Less than nothing, actually, since it turns out that they are all doing the exact same thing that Zohran is. But that's what happens when you get your marching orders from the crusty dumpling in office.
Yeah, go ahead and show me what your thermostat is, Mayor Mamdani, in your house. Because I figured, like, oftentimes when I text, I've got hot dog fingers. I'm always a digit off. So when he put out 78, I assumed he meant 68. So that's what I did. In our apartment, it's 68 degrees. It's very comfortable.
This is what those baboons are screeching about. Zohran asking folks to turn their thermostat to 78 degrees in order to help the grid. As an aside, I keep my house at 77 and I live in Texas, but I know that I'm an anomaly on that one. The funny part is, though, Mamdani asking people to do this is definitely not an anomaly.
This summer, North Texas will flirt with triple-digit temperatures, but it's the 2 digits people are talking about. ERCOT last week asked us to keep our homes to 78 degrees after the grid took a turn again.
This wasn't a conservation alert. It wasn't a conservation appeal. It was just a request.
Simply a request. Someone better inform Cancun Cruz that he's a communist too. Comrade Cruz, more like it. Ted's little dig at Zohran here fell so flat that he immediately got hit with the community notes within hours, saying Ted Cruz's own state has made the same request on numerous occasions. And he's not the only one either. A bunch of these MAGA mouthpieces got shut down, like Meatball Ron, for example, who also tried to get in the ring with the king but couldn't even make it into the arena. He tried to hit Zohran with a warmth of collectivism quote. But of course, it turns out that the conservative mega state of Florida gives out the same advice. Florida Public Service Commission recommends setting your air to 78 degrees. You know, I thought it was weird that 2 big-name maggots from across the country would randomly decide to use this exact same attack angle on Mamdani all at the same time, especially since their own states give the exact same advice. And then we started seeing the same warmth of collectivism pun over and over and over again from every MAGA-connected influencer and politician. Clearly, the White House put out a hit on Zohran Mamdani, and these idiots followed orders without checking their own policies first. In fact, the White House themselves did that exact same thing. Here's the Energy Department's website, energy.gov, and wouldn't you know it, number 8, running your conditioner at 78 degrees. The damn commies must have infiltrated the very top. By now, they've realized their little oopsie, because this is the only official reference that folks can find from the White House anymore. Folks are noticing that the Energy Department is starting to take down pages that list that 78 number, but not before people could get screenshots, of course, and not before the morons over at Fox News spilled the beans, too.
So interestingly, and I was actually shocked by this, the Department of Energy does recommend during the summer to keep your air at 75 to 78 degrees. Eric Adams, who preceded Mamdani, recommended that as well. Now, is my thermostat going to be at that? Absolutely not. I loved Spencer Pratt saying, show me your thermostat, because I'm willing to bet Mamdani's is not at 78 degrees.
And the reason that they're doing this is because they don't want you to see what's really happening in New York. Zohran has gone and done it again and broken another historical record, with crime reaching lower than Trump's morals. And he did it by implementing an absolutely brilliant all-of-government approach to policing.
Over the past 6 months, New York City has experienced the safest start to any year on record. The data reflects what New Yorkers are feeling on our subways, on our streets, and across the 5 boroughs. Our whole-of-government approach to public safety is working. Major crime is down nearly 6% citywide. Since January, we have seen the fewest murders, fewest shooting incidents, and fewest shooting victims in New York City's recorded history. That equates to 122 murders, a 24.7% drop from last year and the lowest level ever recorded. 322 shooting incidents, 15 fewer than last year's record low, and 381 shooting victims, 4% less than last year. The Bronx is continuing to lead the city in crime reductions, down 11.7%. Our public housing system has had its safest year on record, with major crime down 8.5%. Murders in public housing are down 44%. Shooting incidents and shooting victims are down a staggering 26% and 31%. We have removed more than 2,500 guns from our streets since January 1st. And we recently had the safest Memorial Day weekend in New York history, with the fewest ever shooting incidents and shooting victims over the 4-day stretch. None of this was inevitable. We have achieved this progress thanks to the dedication of those in this room, those standing alongside me, and tens of thousands more across the 5 boroughs of our city who have worked tirelessly to deliver a safer city for every New Yorker. This data means much more than a bragging right or a point of comparison for next year. Each of these numbers represents a life untouched by violence, a New Yorker who never had to endure what would have otherwise been the worst day in their life.
You always hear the argument from conservatives, oh, well, that just happened because they stopped reporting crime. But that's not true either. In fact, there's one crime that actually went up in the statistics, and that's rape, where they actually expanded the definition, meaning that they hadn't really been tracking the total number until right now.
The category where we did see an increase over the first 6 months of the year was rape, which was up nearly 6% citywide. The increase we are seeing this year is being driven in significant part by reports of crimes that occurred in prior years, representing 26% of all rapes reported this year. That means more survivors are coming forward to report past sexual violence. That means more survivors, and nearly 20% of reported rapes fall under the expanded definition created by the Rape is Rape law, which went into effect in September of 2024. We want survivors to come forward. We want these crimes reported. And when survivors do come forward, the NYPD will investigate those cases and connect them to the support and the services that they need.
This is what happens when policing is done right, when community protection is paramount above the good old boys. This is getting underreported, so I wanted to highlight this one last thing. Officers being disciplined after complaints went up from 28% under Eric Adams to 93% under Mamdani. This is what it takes to rebuild trust in police, holding them accountable so that we know that they're actually serving and protecting. Subscribe to U.S. Democratic Socialists for more news that you won't hear anywhere else. I'm Tony Hinderman, and I'll catch you next time.